health. It's really great for energy. It actually can lower your risk of cancer, and actually people going through cancer treatment who exercise during treatment have a better prognosis, and it just increases your lifespan. We talked about at the beginning of the show today, longevity and just wanting to live well, and we know that exercise helps with that. And it's because of some really fancy scientific terms, like it increases something called PGC1 alpha, which helps our body make more mitochondria, and our mitochondria are what make ATP, and ATP is energy. So many people are like, I'm so tired. I'm like, well, exercise actually creates energy.
Yes.
And it's this catch-22, but if you rip off the Band-Aid and get a week of movement in, you will have the energy to do that, plus lots of other things in your life.
Well, are there statistics or studies that actually show that exercise is better than any medication you could take?
Well, I don't know about any medication, but I found this amazing quote from a guy at Harvard who was studying mitochondrial health and the benefits of exercise on aging and the mitochondria. And I found this fascinating. This is his quote from Dr. Nair. Based on everything we know, there is no substitute for these exercise programs when it comes to delaying the aging process. They were studying aging and mitochondrial health. These things we are seeing cannot be done by any medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in this, we've been talking off the air in between sessions that we just have such a shotgun approach when it comes to our health and this quick fix for anything we've experienced with our health or in our life. And everything takes time to heal from, or to cure, if you want to use that word, or to become better at something. You need time and training. And the cool thing about exercise is it starts to change your cells immediately during that session. And so the endorphins kick in and you feel better, just even if it's just for that one little hit of time. And then the more you do it, the more those levels stay elevated, and the more your outlook, in addition to your physical health, change.
Well, and people always say, "Oh, you look so young for your age," and I it's a highly coveted secret, but but I swear, like, exercise, they say, takes 10 years right off the top of on your looks, as far as like, and take that outwardly appearance and turn it inside too, because it does the same thing to your health, your heart, your brain, your kidneys, your liver, your muscular development, everything, right?
Well, actually, yeah, definitely. It builds muscle. I mean, we've been talking about connection and isolation, and sometimes some of that comes from just a lack of self-confidence. And so just exercising and feeling that empowerment, it actually changes so many things in your brain, but it increases the levels of something called BDNF, which actually heals your brain and helps your brain. Actually, as we age, our cells just kind of have trash that needs to be taken out, and BDNF helps to do that, but in the brain. So it's just exciting to think that for things like mitochondrial health, which we have in all of the muscles in our body, we make our energy. Exercise is the main drug of choice.
Yeah.
We're in the Dallas area where the Cooper Clinic was born, and Dr. Kenneth Cooper was really the one who coined this exercise as medicine phrase. And I think somewhere along the way, we've just lost the power of exercise for all ailments and illness that we have.
Well, the obesity doesn't help because it's hard to move the heavier you are. But, I was sitting next to a woman on the plane back from New York, and she's part of a study that they're doing on Alzheimer's right at Southwestern here in Dallas, Texas, Southwestern Medical Center and Research Center. And so they're trying to discover the connection of preventing Alzheimer's with exercise. And the results so far that they found are astounding, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be even really curious to see what happens with Parkinson's, because Parkinson's is a dysfunction of our dopamine levels, and when we exercise, our dopamine actually goes up. And when we have healthy levels of dopamine, we have healthy levels of drive. Dopamine is when you have low dopamine, you're like, yeah, I would really like to do that, and then you don't do it. We all have low dopamine moments, right? That's
right.
But when we exercise, we actually can help modulate our dopamine levels, and we have the drive to actually do purposeful and meaningful things, and just to get stuff done. And I think just the mental health circle can just spin in so many different ways. But for some people, it's just this level again of low self-confidence and disappointment in themselves by having dreams that they're not accomplishing.
Right.
And so just something simple as moving and exercising can help you with that.
Well, in the New York Times, they have this article that was written actually just day before yesterday. And the closest thing to a wonder drug, try exercise. They talk about in 2015, the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges put out a report calling exercise a miracle cure. And this isn't a conclusion based on some cohort or base control studies. There are many, many randomized control trials, a huge meta-analysis examined the effect of exercise therapy on outcomes in people with chronic diseases. And they start by saying, let's start with musculoskeletal diseases. Researchers found that 32 trials looking specifically at the effect of exercise on pain and function of patients with osteoarthritis of the knee alone. That's an incredibly specific, and it's a very impressive, so that so much research has focused on one topic. And I can tell you, I broke my foot a couple of weeks ago. Someone asked me last night, how's your foot? It was actually Elizabeth. And I said, you know what? I don't have any more pain in either of my feet now. And I think it's because I didn't let it stop me. I continued to exercise and do what you just were explaining about releasing, all those, the ADP and,
ATP and endorphins and
yes, all that. And I've healed. I think that my foot is completely healed. And that was just like 3 weeks ago. I broke my toe.
Yeah, I mean, the science says that exercise should be the primary treatment, or it should at minimum go along with prescription medication for all things related to cardiovascular health. If you have just some initial, which they call secondary, like cardiovascular, you go in, your cholesterol's a little bit high, your blood pressure's just a tiny bit elevated, it should be first-line therapy. It should be the first thing that's prescribed. If medication is started, then it should be adjunct to that. It should never be left out of the picture. There's no studies that show exercise wasn't beneficial, from depression to heart disease and diabetes and weight management and keeping the weight off and everything else that falls in between. Pain management. Oh my gosh, like so many things. People think, I'm in pain, I can't move. I'm like, move,
you need to
because
move.
You're in pain. I mean, clearly do it in a way that's safe for whatever that's causing your pain.
Yeah.
But endorphins help with pain management.
Absolutely.
And so we should always be moving.
Well, and that was my point of reading that little bit of content out of the New York Times article, The Closest Thing to a Wonder Drug, Try Exercise. So do you believe that exercise is an underutilized resource by doctors and other medical professionals?
Absolutely it is, because if a doctor, and I think here's why. One, it's not a pill. People can't just swallow it, and then it's like they did an hour worth of sweating on the treadmill or lifting heavy weights and training to exhaustion, like we talk about so much on this show. Two, the other reason why is because doctors aren't doing it themselves. And so, hey, doctors, heal thyself. I think if doctors aren't doing it, they don't buy into it, they're not going to tell their patients to do it. And I think that's a big thing. I'd love to see change in this country. Mm-hmm. And three, I wish that it was such that the doctor could write exercise as a prescription on the prescription pad, just like they're going to do that medication. And then the patient would be forced, which is a bad word for it, but they would have to, just like they feel called to go fill their prescription of the medication, they would be called to go show up at a gym 4 times a week with a trainer that their insurance covers that makes them exercise because the doctor said you have to do it. I wish that that's what we had, just because it's so easy to get your medication. Why can't we make it easier for people to exercise? And why can't the doctor have more power over prescription of that?
Yeah, I'd write on that pad, exercise or die. No, I'm joking.
I mean,
it's kind of true.
Hey,
right?
Actually, yeah.
Will insurance cover it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just have so enjoyed today's show. I'm not kidding
Great
you.
show.
And I'm going to exercise when I get home. I didn't get to this morning, but
just
I'm going to
move. Listen, walking counts. If you don't have a routine right now, just move. Stand up. Go walk on your lunch break. Just move.
Move it.
Move, people.
Oh my gosh, Jill Lane, thank you so much. You can find her on Instagram at Team Fueling Champions, or grab free resources at her website, fuelingchampions.org. Robin Perry Braun, go to integratedlifestrategies.com. That's integratedlifestrategies.com. Alejandro, thank you so much. Going to have you back in for a cuddle, maybe. All right, everyone. You get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there today and make the most of it.